What's up, YouTube? East Coast Octane here. So today, first off, good to be back on the damn bike because it's been raining. Don't you even think about it. It's been raining constantly. And like the one day it didn't rain, I was busy with other stuff. So I've not been on my bike in too long. But enough of that. So today, basically what I'm going to do is a little ride and review of the CBR250R. Originally I got this bike just for my girlfriend to learn on, but it's actually a really good commuter. I'm pretty pleased with it overall. Obviously it's a 250, so you got to keep in mind that it's a 250. But it rides really well. Honda just has a good fit and finish. I'll start out with the decision process on this bike. So we were looking for a beginner bike for my girlfriend, and we went to, we just started out going to the dealer, checked out, just had her sit on everything, you know, everything from like a Honda Rebel to the 300s that are out now, Ninja 300, CBR 300, had her sit on a Honda Grom. She liked the Grom a lot, but we kind of weeded that one out just because she wasn't going to keep up with my bike on that very well. So we ended up, it was between the Ninja and the Honda, as it normally is for a beginner bike. I mean, there's a lot of other options, but we were looking for something we could pick up used as well, because I was not in the mood to spend, drop a bunch of money on a bike for a starter bike. It's always good to get a used bike. Ooh, over rev. So yeah, and she sat on the Ninja and she thought it was all right, and she sat on the Honda and thought, you know what, the Honda is just a little bit lighter to pick it up off the stand, and she's a really small girl. She's like 110, 120 pounds max. So that just that little bit of extra weight lifting it up off the stand was nice. For her at least, it seemed like that was a good option. So we went up, and finally I found one used, because there aren't as many of these used. We had to look, but I found a good deal on this one. Only had 2,000 miles when I got it. Now it's got, it's pushing 3,000 now. But I will say that, like I was saying before, the fit and finish on the Honda 250 is just that much nicer than, say, a Ninja 250. Full throttle, bitches. So you've got, on this bike you have a real temperature gauge, you have a real gas gauge, you got a nice prominent tag digital speed readout, which is pretty nice. A lot of the other bikes, entry-level bikes, just don't have that, at least on the used market. Some of the new ones do, but we had to get used. So yeah, and the power, this does not have the top-end power that the Ninja 250 has, but it's got a good meaty midsection, and I think that's good for my girlfriend. She's not somebody who's going to get out there and really string something out. That's just not the way she drives or rides. So we figured, something that has a good meaty midsection would be good. And also, so if you're going to be on the highway, the Ninja has, again, a little more top end in the speed department. This doesn't, but she's not planning to get on the highway basically ever, unless she's just riding on the back of mine. And maybe after she gets used to it, we'll move up to something they can, but right now that wasn't a priority. It was more about having a lightweight bike that she's comfortable on, and this definitely fit the bill, especially after I found one in the price range I was looking for. And I will say, one of the other things that really made me like this bike over some of the other options, for an entry-level, cheap bike, this has an amazing factory paint job. I don't know if y'all can see it in the video, but it looks spectacular. Like, this is the same paint they use on the Interceptor 1200. It's the same exact paint. And that's a $15,000 bike, and this is a $2,000 bike. So I guess $4,000 new, but shit, $2,000 bike has the same paint as like a $10,000 bike, which is kind of cool that it looks so good. Like, honestly, this looks better than my VFR does. And I've done some mods to it, so we're going to do a walk around in a minute, and I'll get to show you all that shit. This one shifts really well. I'd say I'll go over some complaints. Some complaints I have, of course, the suspension. When you're getting any entry-level bike, the suspension is going to be kind of soft. So there's not much you can do about it, but it does have a soft suspension. The rear sets are just kind of awkward. You get used to them, and I've heard some other people say this, but like the shifter and the brake are just kind of in the wrong position. They're too high, and you can adjust them a little bit, but it's just not quite enough. So that would probably be my only gripe. I mean, of course, it'd be nice if it had a little more top speed, but you're getting a 250, so you're definitely not getting something to do top speed runs on the highway. Okay, yeah, anytime you're on the highway is a top speed run on this bike, not gonna lie. But it is super light, super flickable. Nice finish. So I'll start with a couple mods. You've got the Yoshimura frame sliders, because somebody dropped it, and we decided that if it was going to get dropped again, we needed some protection. So we've got Yoshimura frame sliders. You can see those on there. LED blinkers, which is always a good touch. And then this actually has a lowering kit on it, but it's not just a different length, lower links. They're adjustable. I did that because although, yeah, I wanted it adjusted for my girlfriend, I also wanted it adjusted so I could adjust it back for me. Because believe it or not, right now it's in her position, a little bit lower, which isn't even visible. I mean, you literally can't even see that it's lowered. But it's just enough for her to get her heels down. So just like maybe a half-inch lower in the back on this, and then she has a little bit of a platform in her riding boots, and she has so much more confidence, it's not even funny. So yeah, just a little bit lower for a short, lightweight person. I mean, I'm not saying everybody's got to be able to touch, but for her it was a huge confidence boost. I mean, her riding got so much better after we put the kit on there and made it a couple inches lower, or I mean a half-inch lower. It was really almost nothing. I'm on college campus right now. I figured it was a nice day to come out here. So of course you can hear the exhaust. We'll get a look at that in a second. I just put a little Delkevic pipe on here. And I went with Delkevic mainly because it's cheap. Which you're like, why would you put cheap shit on your bike? Well, it's not a very expensive bike. And honestly, I listened to some some CBRs that had like the Yoshimura pipe on it. I like Yoshimura's products. I think they're pretty good. But it sounded like crap. I mean, it just made it sound like a dirt bike, which, yeah, it's kind of a dirt bike motor. But it's a street bike, so you don't really want it to sound like a dirt bike. So yeah, we went with the Delkevic pipe on it, which it gives it a good, I mean, I don't know what it sounds like in the video, but I think it sounds pretty good in person. It's not too loud, and it looks pretty nice. It looks way better than the factory pipe, and it's a good bit lighter. If it gives it any more power or not. It's just a slip-on, and this is a 250, so you know, you can wish in one hand and try to make your 250 faster in the other hand, and I bet maybe that's not the right way to put that, but I do not have the right credentials. Don't care, do what I want. Well, and here it sounds spectacular. Oh, there's a motorcycle. Let's do a little walk around here. So, as I said before, we've got all LED turn signals on it, front and back. I think they look pretty good. Yoshimura frame sliders. New kickstand. We had to go a little bit lower on the kickstand. Removed the rear passenger pegs because, trust me, there is absolutely no situation where there should be a person on the back of this bike ever. Not a good idea. The excuse my tag cover, Yoshimura tail tidy kit on here, which looks pretty spectacular. I like the way it looks. Oh, hey there, Bubicon. All right, and then Delkevic exhaust. Looks pretty good. And rear spool so that we can work on it a little bit easier. Then barely in there, you can see the lowering kit through there. Just barely. I think that about wraps it up. All right, we have a seat hump on here. So we completely removed the rear seat because, like I said, nobody has any business riding on the back of that thing. Look at that beautiful sunset. So I would say there are a couple things that I plan to change on this, just real quick. So I think we might do a vinyl wrap on it, and just to change up the color. I know I talked all good about the paint, but the other thing I'm looking at getting is different rear sets, because I'm just not crazy about these. I'd like a little bit different foot position. And then I think I'll be getting LED tail light and headlight on it, just to kind of finish it off. I think that would finish it off quite nicely. Listen to that. I don't care if it's a 250, anything noisy is so fun. Stay on your side, Chief.